with that context, I would like to invite the moderator for this particular session. Please put your hands together for SUNIL PINTO, who heads events and partnerships from ADGULLY. Let's give a round of applause to SUNIL PINTO. Thank you, SUNIL. Please join us over here. Our first panelist along with SUNIL, we have got Moninder Kumar. He is AVP, Private Media, Reliance. Welcome, Moninder. We also have Ashutosh Nagare, VP, Head of Performance Marketing at Attractive Revenues. Thank you, Ashutosh, for joining me. Also, we have our very own Aniket Powar, National Sales Head Hybrid. Please join us. Thanks to everyone for joining us over here. We will keep the session Sunil over here.
Hey, thanks a lot, Sankalp, for handing this over. Well, AI, ML, these are buzzwords right now. We cannot have any conversation without these words being used. As part of our daily conversation, as part of our early conversation, in fact, I think everything we talk about zeroes in to application of AI and how AI is used effectively. And this session is no different. I mean, here we are in this world of rapidly changing world where AI is kind of taking on the world. So it's indeed my privilege to be here and to be moderating this session with two elite agencies being part of this conversation. We've got Moninder from Vibrant and Ashutosh from IA. And Aniket here representing the AdTech, looking at getting a lot of answers out here at this session. First and foremost, I'd like to throw this conversation out to the agencies. Moninder, your perspective, followed by Ashutosh. In terms of with AI dominating the conversations across the board, how many briefs and how much strategy that you guys get up in terms of advertising really comes with a brief for AI? Has AI started to become part of those briefs? How much AI is part of those strategies?
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm with all of you. So, I guess more than getting AI in brief, I guess it's already there, right? We don't have to think now with what we had like 6-7 years back. I still remember those days when we used to work on manual keywords and changing width for all of the keywords, and I'm sure a lot of people would be able to relate to that. And coming to this era where we don't have to think about the bits, right? We just have to take care of the bit strategy. Talking about the biddable media, but overall, I guess whenever there is a brief, talking from a business angle and media angle both, we know that what kind of campaigns and what kind of platforms and tools are going to work for this, right? And instead of spending a lot of time on thinking that what kind of audience should be targeted and what kind of placement should be there, what kind of messaging should be there, now I guess there is a lot of reliability on some kind of tools, which is I guess very much needed these days, because the kind of accuracy we see, the kind of results which we see from these kind of tools is like fantastic. If you compare it with a general manually created campaign, then the overall performance has been fantastic so far. So overall, I would say it's more of understanding the latest tools coming in the market, right? And how these tools are helping us out in getting our or achieving our objectives altogether. So yes, definitely AI has been a part of our daily life these days, whether it's a biddable network or non-biddable media, right? Overall, when we have to reach out to our audience, AI coming to talking to different publishers and tools, right? And getting the right kind of campaign in place, whether it's a hyper-local campaign or reaching out to audience and getting leads, reaching out to the right people with the right messaging. So AI is everywhere.
I think I totally agree with what Moninder is saying, and More than the brief coming to us, what I'd like to say is actually AI is not something which is new. AI existed for a while now. It's just that the awareness has been increasing lately, and which is why the adoption is also increasing. The only limited challenges which were back then was maybe perhaps we didn't have too many tools. With the awareness now increasing and the adoption increasing, I think a lot of partners are developing these tools which can be readily accessible and made available to the market. So I think across the board, the first problem that we're also still trying to solve, rather than getting the brief, we are trying to still educate anyone and everyone that we meet up to, like from the perspective of how AI can add a lot of value from the perspective of their day-to-day work that they're actually doing it. From ChatGPT to generative AI, there's a lot of stuff, right? Those were the old days where I was just talking to Anand before this panel, and we were discussing that almost a decade back, to change any ad copy, we used to take almost a week or 10 days, and it used to go through multiple cycles, right? Today, you just go to the ChatGPT and you create an ad copy. Even if your client doesn't give you, you suggest them, here, I have a ChatGPT made a copy ready. If you want to do any of the brand-led changes, you can do it, and it's easy to use, right? So I think creating that awareness is something that we are still solving for from the perspective of how it can act like a solution. And I think it's just going to, it's not just going to be a fad, it's just going to go a long way from it.
Definitely, I mean, it's good to have your perspectives. I mean, things have changed a lot over the last few years. I mean, we are looking at every opportunity to use AI more effectively. In terms of the advertising, I mean, the current year is promising to be a big change in terms of the way things are approaching. Especially with the conversation of the cookieless world that we're looking towards. So what really do you guys see from the advertising, from the performance marketing perspective, that AI is going to make in this scenario?
So generally, I hope I'm audible. So generally when we talk about AI, there is a preconceived notion that AI is mostly generative AI and not anything else. Yes, the generative AI since the launch of ChatGPT has been in the forefront and in the discussion, but it's always been here, like Ashutosh mentioned. In fact, a lot of our solutions at Hybrid are driven by AI. When we talk about AI, we say the hero solution that we have, Walks, right? It actually uses AI. It's not generative AI, but we actually use AI to understand, probably streamline and reduce the kind of spillage that you've had generally when you've been working with traditional websites and traditional platforms. AI just gives you that edge to probably fine-tune your efforts in marketing and better ROIs when it comes to BFSI in specific. I mean, would love to hear your perspective also on the same.
Yeah, I guess Sunil mentioned one point, cookieless tracking and targeting and all, right? I still remember a couple of years back when this had come into the picture, most of the advertisers, and I guess that was the reality. But what I feel is, we are working in an environment where everyone has the right to go on a free web and open web and do anything, right? And everyone, if most of the people are saying in the market and in the entire world that they don't feel safe when they are using internet, right? So definitely there is some kind of, there is some kind of change is needed. And as a marketer, as advertiser, it's, I guess, our responsibility to adapt to all of those changes and happily go ahead with the technology and the kind of options we stay back with. And I guess within next few years after that change, we started adopting a lot of things. And I don't feel the same kind of scarcity right now, considering we now have all of the options working in an environment where we are now looking more of first-party data. We are trying to understand how we can more focus on contextual targeting, right? How we can focus on mobile IDs instead of maybe regular user IDs. Overall, looking into how, so I guess as an advertiser, when we talk about first party data, it's not just what whosoever is coming on our app or website, right? Our idea should be to focus, this is my audience size, if I have 300 million people out there who can be the prospects, right? So idea is to get them on the website so that you don't have to spend much on your larger audience or maybe, so just think about your audience size and think about how maybe from your own media you can do a lot of activities, from your content marketing you can do a lot of things to get them on your app or website, right? So I guess with the change in the cookieless tracking and targeting, right? So we are all prepared, I guess, all of the advertisers, all of the agencies are quite well prepared for going ahead with these kind of scenarios, and I guess we should be happily adapting all of that.
I think what I've lately seen is, and we already started preparing for this 12 months back, and we were building internal capabilities in terms of how we can be a pioneer in a data tech solution rather than just the media. And the initial projects that we actually concluded, we saw that actually entering into cookieless world, it is much more better in terms of driving performance for any of the performance marketers, because it's not just helping you be prepared for the perspective of writing on your first party data, but also stopping your all media waste going to any other random targeting that you're actually doing it. So it is actually helping efficiently for the brands which are moving towards the data tech solutions, and the two of the biggest walled gardens, they are already started offering a lot of alternate solutions to enter to a cookieless world, and agencies like us are anyways helping advertisers to get onto it and ride with it.
I mean, we as a company, I would say when we heard about cookieless environment, we as a company were the happiest ones, because we already were building a solution which was catering to exactly the same situation once it arrives. Now when it's here, we're ready to serve agencies and clients with solutions which are already tried and tested, which already make sense, which are already driving results. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Aniket, I'll stay with you for now. Okay, Hybrid is presenting itself as a full stack ecosystem, programmatic ecosystem, and something that you guys spoke a lot about is the application of AI and AI. Can you give us a good example of how, of any client of yours in any landscape, in any space, who've used the benefits and who've taken the advantage, maximum advantage of AI in managing their...
As a company which actually has solutions, we get calls from agencies and brands specifically help us with innovations related to AI. So when we talk about some recent examples, what we've actually observed is FMCG as a category has been excellent in terms of using this technology to the fullest. A recent example that I've seen was Mondelez with the celebrations packets having QR codes. You scan them and you can actually create a personalized happy birthday song using generative AI. And that was unbelievable, because generative AI and these kind of options were very new, and it's probably kudos to the team who thought about it and also executed the same before the category itself kind of lifted up. And it was a very well managed activity. I believe FMCG has been one of the categories that has been at the forefront when it comes to using generative AI. But I would say BFSI and other categories have equally used AI, specifically not generative AI, but and they really don't need to use generative AI because it's a very result-driven category when it comes to BFSI. And what I believe is, if ROIs are more important, then probably there are some things that you can completely ignore. And generative AI can be one of those, which you can probably use it in case if you want to. But you can do with what you have as an option with the systems which use AI to recognize audiences, relevant audiences, reach out to them with personalized messaging, ensure AI is using personalized messaging and ensuring brand safe environments. So AI can be used in two different spheres. Yeah.
Okay, thanks Aniket for sharing that. Well, we have to get into the BFSI context where JFM traditionally or typically are very, very active months for financial services, advertising. I mean, having worked in the performance marketing world myself, I know how much pressure is put on ad spends in these months. So, given that we are already right in the middle of JFM, what strategies have both of you in terms of performance, in terms of branding, have you guys actually thought in terms of application strategies with respect to AI, more specifically in terms of addressing the challenges that the BFSI industry has?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we have anyway started doing it from Q3, okay, was how we can actually merge the branding and performance together and call it as a brand performance kind of a strategy, and use AI products which can actually not just drive the efficiency of reaching out to a customer, but maybe push them down the funnel to drive into consideration or maybe a conversion. Right, so that's one piece of it. Second, I think what we are also doing it largely from the perspective is since everyone is hooked onto Reels, people say it's very much addictive. Using UGC-based content rather than a regular ad film in targeting into performance campaigns, and also simultaneously using them in the branding campaign. So you see a very good engagement, very good hook rate, very good hold rate from the perspective of users loving the content and they're sticking on to it, and simultaneously when you create that cookie pool of an audience, you can eventually simultaneously retarget them into performance campaigns. So I think creative-led solutions, product-led solutions, we are working on a whole lot of different fronts. Simultaneously, a couple of ad tech partners like Hybrid who are helping us not just to drive the efficiencies on the awareness campaigns where you can do a lot of savings from the perspective of, the ad rates are going up year on year, but how you can still ensure that you're reaching out to the same or a bigger set of an audience by reducing your CPMs or CPCs, and also create that impact which is measurable through any of the tools like Ads Data Hub or something else.
For us, I guess it's more of retail, but within Reliance ecosystem, we have very less BFSI-led brands, but definitely more coming into the picture like financial services and all. Right? But we still have few brands on which we are currently working, and I still remember in the last quarter we were thinking about having some AI-driven campaigns because we had previously tested that for some of our retail segments, right? Where testing out DCOs, which is in market, but I still feel a lot of brands are not testing DCO, which is, I personally feel that it had that kind of capacity which can take you to somewhere else, right? In terms of at least reaching out to your audience in a right way, instead of just, creating only 4, 5, 6 kind of creatives and reaching out with the same messaging with different set of people. I really don't feel congruent to that. But overall, in terms of strategy, I guess what we have thought as a next step is, definitely using some of our POS campaigns, which were AI-led, which are more of biddable campaigns, but in terms of the display-led campaigns, it's something like again, partnering with some of the alliances and publishers where we can reach out to people with different messaging, with different audiences, understanding the credit history, understanding the buying patterns, understanding the how they generally behave with the brand, how quickly they can understand the brands, right? So overall basis, all of these kind of learnings, showing the right set of ads and messaging to those people, right? So as I said, similar kind of strategy had worked really well for us. And in my past organization, I remember we were working for GSK where we were showing different kind of ads. For example, if somebody is traveling in a metro at 12 p.m. and if the system knows that this person is a coffee lover, then showing an ad of a girl having a coffee and talking about the sensitivity, right? It was Sensodyne, right? So overall, those kind of ads and creating millions of versions of these kind of ads really helped us. So I guess for BFSI also, the idea is to reach out with different kind of messaging at the right time with a very personalized message and very personalized image, personalized. I would say, now AI would know at what time what bit should be there, right, for that person. Maybe, if we both are working in an ad industry and we both want a home loan, right? Maybe I would want to buy that home loan after 2 months and he may want it at like immediately, right? So system knows that basis the buying patterns and search patterns and browsing patterns, right? So basis that, showing the ads with that kind of intensity is, the kind of solution we are trying to create and trying to build with our partners, right? So that's how we are looking into it.
Okay, the first mention of AI and the application came up with writing copy. Okay, Moninder of course spoke about more in-depth uses of AI in terms of data analysis, analytics, and trying to reach the right people. Well, I'll just throw one last question to you guys in terms of we've got a whole lot of BFSI people out here, so what learnings or what thoughts should all our audience take home with them in terms of what learnings do they have from other industries, from the use of AI in the various other spectrums of industries that they can take home and probably think about going forward?
I think if I have to give you one key takeaway from the perspective, I do understand that BFSI is hurdled around with a lot of regulatory challenges. So, but the biggest solve for driving growth is working towards the data and technology, right? Building your data and technology together. So maybe as a category, definitely there needs to be a lot of awareness to be created, but also within the internal stakeholders, coming to a common agreement of how you can harness more first-party data and build that data stack so that you don't have to really run around and maybe reach out to some other publishers from that perspective where you might get junk audiences, but you can build up on your own data stack and maybe reach out to more similar set of an audiences going ahead in the future.
I guess most of the people are already very well versed with the latest norms and what AI is and how it can reshape the entire marketing campaigns and all. But what I personally feel is doing marketing is also understanding the psychology of your audience. Where it's very important to understand which sector you are into and what kind of audience it is. Every person is going to be different, and you can't really reach out to everyone with the same kind of messaging. It's not possible doing everything manually, right? So AI is coming with a lot of pros. We need to understand, if I have again 100 million people to be reached out, what would be the right message and image and video for each of them, right? So I guess choosing a right AI tool, AI publisher platform is very important. Understanding what kind of security norms they have, are they in the right environment, are they meeting all of your expectations according to business objectives and not just media objectives. Of course, are they under the CPM limits, right? Trying to understand how different tools can help you out in not just again reaching out, but altogether creating such environment for your brand where you are there for everyone and understanding everyone's need and accordingly vibrating with them with your messages. So I guess that's all.
Thanks. I'll leave the last leading word to Aniket. Well, since we've got so much BFSI so much of a BFSI audience, what is the parting word that you have to share with them in terms of how hybrid in specific can actually help manage BFSI communications and advertising better?
I guess I'll say work with us. But on a serious note, I've always observed that BFSI as a category and the people managing this particular category are very specific about the bottom funnel. I've always seen comments and me rebutting a lot of queries related to the bottom funnel, the leads, acquisitions. But I also believe, and that's my perspective, that the bottom funnel actually comes from the mid funnel and the top funnel. If you do not have enough number of audiences in these two funnels which are above you, the bottom funnel itself will never be fulfilled. I feel the efforts that you're putting, the plans that you have for the bottom funnel using AI, I think there should be equal efforts in ensuring that your top and middle funnel are also having sizable amount of audiences so that eventually it all boils down and you get your leads and you get your acquisitions. So that's my perspective. I'm sure there will be people who will probably want to argue. So thank you so much. That's the parting words to close this.
Well, thanks Aniket for actually sharing those parting words. Well, we've all been talking so much about the marketing funnel, and it's all about getting the conversions that seems to matter most to us. I mean, totally justifiable perspective that is there. And on that note, well, thank you all. I hope this conversation or this discussion has left some message with you in terms of, has given you some message to take home, to go back to your work desk and to figure out, well, what benefit have I had from attending this session. And on that note, I'd like to thank you for being patient listeners. Well, thanks Moninder, thanks Ashutosh, thanks Aniket for your inputs, and thanks all of you for listening in and being part of this session and conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.